G'day friends, here I am again at beautiful Byron Bay. Some of you, or at least one of you, didn't believe me last time because it is the middle of winter here and they didn't believe that I was here on the beach, but it is a subtropical climate here and we do get beautiful days during the winter even. The nights are cool, but we get some beautiful days like today during the winter, and here I am taking advantage of that. It's good to get some sunshine and get your feet in the water, or at least on the soil if you can't get down to any water, just to sort of get a bit of grounding in, so they say. Put you in touch with nature a bit and just get you back in line physically, mentally, emotionally and even spiritually. Because it seems that every week something else comes out that's even crazier than the last week. It can knock us around spiritually a little bit, and emotionally, and even mentally, and even physically. But like even this week we've got 7.6. Well, we've got one person every 7.6 seconds lining up to get their iris scanned into the World ID identification system, Worldcoin, brought to you by Sam Altman, who brought us ChatGPT. So these people are lining up to get their iris scan, so later on it'll be easier for them to get the universal basic income. Like they think this is okay, and we're looking at this going, what's going on? Is this the end? Is this the final weapon they're using to just get everybody in line? Because once they've got your iris scan, you might be denied access to certain things unless you've done certain things or you've taken certain things. And even now there's stores in certain locations where you basically get your irises scanned to get in the store. So it's getting closer. And what we're looking at, it's just all a big symptom of the state we're in, or at least the general state of the human race. And of course you've got people that are taking advantage of that, and spirits and entities that are taking advantage of that lower frequency that we have these days. And then it's like a vicious circle. They're causing that to happen, and then it's becoming lower, and we're walking around amongst zombies here who think it's just okay to sit at home and play computer games and get money for nothing just because they've scanned their irises. And so they don't realise that just that by doing that they're putting everyone else under an obligation to pay for that, and not only us but our children and our children's children, putting them into bondage for future generations. And that's basically the case now. I mean, we're so far in debt that it's virtually and mathematically impossible to repay the debt. So we're in the bondage of back in the bondage of Egypt. We literally individually can't do anything to leave this situation, because legally we have become a surety for the debt. If at all you have taken any benefits or received any numbers in your past, or even if you're the product of a state marriage, you are the property of the state. They have a certain amount of property over you, and that means you don't have, you're not a free soul under God. You are property of the state, and so are your children, and so is everything you own, or everything you think you own. You don't really own it, because if you did, you wouldn't have to pay a monthly or a yearly tax on it. So this is the situation you're in, and the reason we've got to this place is because, generally speaking, we are out of order. We have, done the wrong thing. We are not operating at our full potential, or We're not operating at our intent for with our intended purpose. You know, we have a potential ahead of us or above us, and we've probably been closer to that potential in the past. One of the biggest psyops is evolution, that says that, you know, we continue to improve with time, but unfortunately some things do. You know, some technology improves and so forth and so on, but people don't necessarily improve with time. The culture doesn't necessarily improve with time. There have been times in the past with much higher cultures and morality, and you know, progress was much better because people were more in line with the way, you know, the way they were supposed to act and behave, more in line with the intention of who we are, why we were even created. So, you know, all the problems out there you see today, even mental problems, psychological problems, a lot of them have to do with the fact that we are out of order. It's kind of like if you buy a nice car, a Ferrari or a sports car, and, you know, you put the wrong fuel in, it's not going to give you the right outcome. Or if you abuse the car, you know, if it's a sports car and you drive it on dirt roads all the time, or, you know, you're always driving it at full revs all the time, or you don't warm it up properly, or, you know, you're basically abusing it in some way, you're going to get problems. And it's the same with the, you know, the human being. If we're not, if we're abusing ourselves, maybe physically even, but if we're, you know, not putting the right fuel in, we're not, if we're putting garbage into our minds, if garbage is coming out of our mouths, you know, if we're not acting appropriately, we are holding ourselves back from reaching our full potential. And our full potential is being free souls, right? And so, when Jesus walked the earth, you know, he gave us an example of what it means to be a free soul. And, you know, there are metaphors in the Bible, and it was from a long time ago, and there is translations, and some of the story gets lost and twisted as time goes on. But generally speaking, the Bible is about people that were able to transcend and begin to reach their potential without, you know, being controlled by other men. So the Bible's about governments, and governments that rise and fall, and what people do when they fall. So the three main examples are, you've got Abraham, Moses and Jesus, who were three characters in the Bible that did certain things to bring people out of a collapsing empire. You know, thousands of years apart, and here we are today, and we have a collapsing empire, and they're tightening the screws. And, you know, another thing that happened this week is you've got, you know, Dictator Dan in Victoria, who has banned all the use of, or even the installation of, gas appliances in the homes, gas cook stoves, gas heaters, anything gas, from the 1st of January next year. Like if you build a new house, you can't cook with gas. You know, the old saying goes, now we're cooking with gas. The reason it's a saying and a cliche is because, you know, any cook will tell you, I mean, try and tell a chef that he can't cook with gas. I mean, what is going on? You know, well, we know what's going on. It's not really supposed to make sense, but this is what I mean by the screws are tightening. So you've got a choice. You can either roll over and take all this stuff, or you can start to network with like-minded individuals and live by faith, and you know, one way or another, get through this without losing your soul or selling your soul, where you have to actually pretend that you agree to get along, go along to get along and everything like this. You start to actually believe, you know, the lies, and just to get by, and or you take a certain thing just to keep your job, or you know, it's not the only option you have. That's what I'm really here to tell you today. There are people out there that are coming together to support others, that would just come together so that in the times ahead, provide an alternative to certain actions that may be detrimental to you, or, you know, it could be a matter of survival even later on, and need I say, a matter of life and death. So one thing I can say, it is certainly a matter of spiritual life and death, because right now, if you think it's okay to line up and get your eyeballs scanned so that you can sit at home and play computer games and receive universal basic income at the expense of another, you're a dead man walking. And what I mean by that is you're spiritually dead. You are totally disconnected from any form of love of your fellow man. You might think you love people and say you love people, but your acts would display otherwise. And, you know, that's just an extreme example, but anyone who is in this system that's received any benefit at the expense of another by force, unfortunately, is in the same boat. And that's a bit of a tough pill to swallow, because we all think we're so right. But there is a way out of that situation. You can turn around, you can go the other way. Join the network, go to Preparing You, read the books there and find out how you got into this place, what people did to get out of it, and what you can do to change the status of who you are and your you know, your place in this world. So anyway, once again, coming to you from Byron Bay, Australia. We'll see you next time, and until then, peace.